G'day everyone, welcome to this really random YouTube video. I have decided that I'm going to unbox this, unpackage it, unenvelope it. I'm going to open it on camera. First impressions, live reaction. Well, live. You're going to see it on YouTube after I've filmed it and put it all together. Anyway, this package is the author proofs, like the author copies of the Daisyween prompt book that I want to illustrate for October. Now, there are actually two other ones coming that are hardcover versions. I've ordered 3 of these in the paperback versions because I feel like these are not only the cheapest, like the most affordable way to get it, but like the hardcover versions are a lot more expensive actually, but these are the quickest as well. So if you actually do want to participate with these in October, I've had to do this like pretty quickly. These are actually only like mock-ups as well. I still have to do some more with the graphics, unless I like the way this looks, but I don't think I'm going to enjoy the unfinished look of it. Yeah, I have to see it all. I have to see what it's going to look like so that I can test all the supplies in there and let you know exactly what will work before we start, just so I can point you in the right direction and order the right thing when it all happens. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, basically I've written a little book, much like Daisy. Remember her from years ago? We had these 2 different Daisies. I did this through the October challenge to draw with ink. I'm not saying it because I don't want to get in trouble with that guy. But we also did like a collaborative Burkmates version where everyone submitted all their different daisies for the different prompts, and we made a book out of that as well. So this is actually a double. I had to make one of these because Steve actually sold one of my last copies of mine, so I had to make another one. Anyway, I wanted to bring Daisy back. She's been back a couple of times, but this one, I wanted to do this from the very beginning. Oh, here they are. Oh, that's the back. Let me check there's nothing in here that you can't see. Oh, there's just that, whatever that is. Trash. There's trash in it. So you can see this is the author copy. It has a big band on it that says not for resale. Oh, these are the matte. That matte feels so powdery and it's like suede feeling. It's quite bizarre. Don't love that. We'll probably stick with the gloss. Anyway, paperback versions. We'll go through it in a second because all of the stuff is in here, and in this video I want to test the supplies so you can get a really good feel for what the different paper types are. I've had to mock them up in different versions. Even though it's a whole black and white book, I think the paper type might be different for the color and the black and white. That's what I have to test. I also forgot which ones I did for which, so I'm gonna have to go and check my order. Do you know what? That paper type actually feels exactly the same. Does it not? No. This one feels a little different. Is this one? Oh, this one looks brighter and whiter. See, I don't know how it's gonna pick up on the screen, but those look like they'll be different. None of them are coated though. They all just feel like copy paper, so I feel like it could work. Anyway, I want to do another one of these. Like I said originally, when I did Daisyween the first time, I actually looked for manufacturers that could manufacture a hardcover book with watercolor paper with the prompts printed in there, so that when we did the challenge together, we could illustrate the book. And at the end of it, we would all have a book that we had fully illustrated. Now that didn't work out because the quotes that I was getting back was $80 per book. That was from me to buy them, that was wholesale. And I think it was just way too expensive. But I've decided to do it through Amazon KDP, which means it can go, you will order it through Amazon. If you choose to participate, please, you don't have to. And I'm going to put a free version of all of these prompts up for you as well. So this is only for people who want to do the book thing. But I will pop the prompts out publicly for free as well, so please don't feel pressured to do this. I just want to do it because it's the idea I originally had, and then since they've got hardcover options, I felt like this would be the time to give it a go, even though those aren't going to arrive until October. I'm going to have like 5 different versions, although I decided I was going to draw them in black and white, and I'm going to take it to Australia and have my nephew color them in. So it'll be like a nice coloring book for him, so that way we can kind of collaborate on that, and we'll have both like done the book together. I'm really excited for that. But this is the thing I mocked up. So this is actually just my sketch of what this is supposed to be digital. And it says, written by James Burke and illustrated by, I think it was supposed to say you. Did I forget to put the U on there? I think I've forgotten to put the U on there. There you go. My first correction. I'm just gonna go straight in with the alcohol marker because that's what this is for. This can be my copy to look at. I think it'll be fine. I actually like the size of that. This is a composition notebook size. I kind of like this size very specifically. I mean, all the information will be on the listing if you do go to purchase it. It's 7.5 inches by just over 9, or maybe it's like 9.75, just about that. I went with one of their standard trims because if you do a trim that's too custom, it doesn't populate in all the different marketplaces. So to the best of my knowledge, this should pop up in amazon.com.au, it should pop up in amazon.co.uk, Amazon Japan as well, like wherever you are, there should be an Amazon version of this available, hopefully, fingers crossed, if I've done it correctly. And then it will show it in your local price as well, and it should, depending on how they do it in your country, it should come relatively quickly if it's a paperback option. So I'm assuming if you're going to participate, you'll probably be looking into the paperbacks. I'm going to say we'll probably end up doing it with the glossy cover. Because all of these are just tests, not all of these are going to be available to you. I don't think I'll make a matte cover available. It just gets way too dirty. Look, I haven't even touched this, and this is how dirty it already looks. Because it will stay white, the cover. I did, however, I don't know if you can see this, I put a kind of watermark. This is only a little graphic too that's not finished. Just sketch. I might actually take that off because I don't know if I like it. But this is watermarked with a whole bunch of daisies. If you're in Collage Club, I did a whole page of sketched daisies that were all in different styles from the style workshop that I'm also working on. That's still a work in progress, goodness. These things take so long because I get so involved with so many projects. Anyway, it's going well, but it's not ready. Those were the daisies from that, and I'm wondering if I shouldn't just put that on the front cover as well, because this does look a bit sparse. And do I like, I like that it's just faint in the background, but there's something there. Please, sound off in the comments below. Lay all your opinions on me, because this, like the actual whole book, is a full-on collaborative effort between us all. So do you think, yes, I should put the kind of grayed out daisies on the front as well? Maybe just wrap it around the whole cover? Nothing on the spine for this one. The hardcovers do have a thicker spine, so there is writing on the spine in the hardcover. I really don't think anyone will do the hardcover. If you're trying to do as an October drawing challenge, they won't be ready for that. The paperbacks possibly will be, hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm going to try and get these done this week, so... But you know what? By the time you see this video, I probably have already chosen what to do with it, so don't worry about the comments too much. But if you want to have your say, just have your say. Dear You, so let's go through the book just to see what it all looks like. I think I like this. It's big enough to read. It's a sans serif font. I heard that children apparently really gravitate towards this Futura font. I'll have to proofread some of these things, but I don't think there are any issues. I did proofread them already. So I wanted to put the first page. I was considering putting this. Oh wow, look at that. On this version, is that the same here? I don't know what happened there. Look, the toner in the cartridge or whatever has turned this kind of red. That's a quality control issue. I feel. I'm going to have to see if this is the color paper version. Let me sign off for a second, I'll come back. Okay, I'm back. I figured it out. So, in order of least expensive to most expensive, although there's not a huge difference, this is the black and white with white paper printing version that has this weird red cast to it. I am really not sure if that is common. I want to hope that if I change the cover to glossy that doesn't happen, but who knows, like, is that what you get for choosing black and white? Anyway, mostly curious to know if there's a big paper difference inside, because that's really the main thing, isn't it? If worse comes to worse, you could always put like a dust jacket over the top and kind of design your own cover. But anyway, so that is the black and white paper with the matte cover, but I don't want to do matte, I want to do gloss. This is a little bit more expensive. This is the standard color interior, and this is the premium color interior, both on white paper. So I'm also curious to know if there's much of a difference between these. Feeling the covers make it feel really different, because honestly, a matte cover feels more luxe, but it's just not practical. The paper though, I mean, they do kind of feel different. At first glance, this seems brighter and whiter, and this feels like text paper. I don't think there's a huge difference in the weight, but something about this has a slight bit of texture to it, where this is a little bit more smooth. And if you do look close, this is a little off-white, this is bright white. The text is a little bit more crisp on the premium color interior. However, if we lay this one next to everything, are we really seeing a huge difference? No, I don't think so. So it's really going to come down to the testing. You know, this is the cheapest version, this is the most expensive version. I feel like we should just go, well, we should test everything really, but you know, that would show us the biggest difference. This is just a little bit crisper. The whole thing is there's not really much in here by way of imagery, and there's nothing wrong with these images either. So if the paper holds up the same way, I'm saying we just go with the black and white text version and pray that the cover issue resolves itself. Anyway, as we flip through it, we might as well just put it through its paces. This is my test one, right? Is this the test one, the one that yeah, it's the black and white one. Great, so we can write all over this. I mean, we can write over all of them. It is glued together, so you're gonna have this little spine here, just to keep all the pages together. I mean, I don't know if you're someone that likes to kind of crease your book as you go. I probably recommend doing it with a bone folder just to make it nicer, if that felt good for you. It's not one of those lay flat books, but it's also not so thick that I think you'd have too much of a problem just kind of using it as is. If we go right to the middle of the book, you could try and crack your spine. I just wouldn't recommend doing that. And there's totally enough space on here. I was gonna try and do like a 6x9 version as well. I'm not quite sure if I will. I think this is nice because even if you were to draw smaller, this ultimately the space you would kind of fill would be about 6x9. So I think I might just aim to have my illustrations kind of sit in the middle of the page. In any case, if we start from the beginning, we've got this little hello, welcome title page, which is just kind of my note to you. There's a little bit of like ink splatter on this page. I don't expect a ton from these direct print services, honestly. As long as they're not terrible, I think we're fine. Something about the bleed here seems like we could shove this over a little bit more, so I'm just going to make a note for myself. Written by James Burke and illustrated by, see, I've just copied that same text, but I forgot to put you in there. I'm so lazy. And then there's a space for you. Illustrated by me. Great. So I might try and shove that over a little bit. You know, I'm so lazy, a part of me just wants to do it with this because, like, it serves the same purpose, but I should clean it up and do a digital version of it. I want to draw it. Look, I have to be totally honest with you, I'm so sick to death of being on the iPad, and I'm not even on it that often. I really have grown irritated with doing anything artistic on an iPad, and I think it's just because I have such a rampant love affair with art supplies and paper and stuff like that. It's nothing against the iPad, and of course it is handy, but I really don't like, it makes me feel like everything has to be really perfect and like it has to look like it's done really precisely because it's digital and you can erase it a million times and keep going. Something about when it's real, I let myself have a lot more grace about like wonky lines and little sketchy marks. I don't know, that's my own journey I'm on, but that is that there. This is an alcohol marker, believe it or not, so of course it's going to go through, but we will test the other supplies and see how they hold up. I put this in here. This is like a little Daisy, sorry my window's open. This is a little Daisy cheat sheet, I guess, but I thought it'd just be a nice decorative page. Truth be told, there was a minimum for the hardcover to have 72 pages, and so for 31 days of prompts, it kind of worked out just to have each spread be its own thing, but I didn't reformat it for the paperback because I didn't want to have to draw on the back of 2 pages. So you will see it's kind of formatted to have like 1 spread equals 1 prompt. And even though it doesn't look the nicest, like you would never format a real book that way, when you're drawing straight into it, I do think it's important, especially anticipating people that, like me, are really heavy-handed and kind of, you know, burnish into the paper, people who use supplies that accidentally bleed through or ghost a little bit. I just felt like that would be something to do. So you'll see it all there. Anyway, this is the opening. I kept it really simple. I haven't done any kind of text. I know we talked about doing some like italics or bold or adding in a little speech bubble thing or whatever. I'm just gonna go straight with the text. I think it's enough, honestly, and I do think that like it keeps it really open for people to start drawing things in here. Like, let's just pretend this is a daisy. I just wish, my wish for this is that if you do pick it up and you do have fun with it, that you will you'll feel as free as I am right now to pick up a pen and start drawing in it. It's so funny. And that ultimately it would be a beautiful like sketchbook, place that you felt free to kind of express all the little daisies that run around in your head. And that once it's finished, that you would love to show it to everybody, or that at least you had someone in your life that you could share it with and show them just, oh goodness, my friend with the exhaust. I'm getting so angry. Can you hear it in my voice? So I'm really excited to talk about this and it won't shut up. I hope that there is someone that you can share it with. If not us, but someone in your life. Like, I'm really excited to do this for my nephew, and ultimately when his sister grows up, read it to her and possibly even like gift it to her on behalf of him. Look at me trying to orchestrate family heirlooms for my sister's family. Anyway, I love my nieces and nephews. I'm obsessed. All right, so then it goes into the prompts. Mushroom on the moon. Even that pen ghosted through. We should do, let's go to the test page actually, once we're finished. This is all the same thing. Plashoon-shaped balloon. I will give you a free version of this. Not that this is paid, but it is. You know what I mean? Like, there is definitely like a paid portion if you buy the book. I'm not trying to make $1 million off this, but in all transparency, there is a royalty that I get for each book. I've tried to keep it as low as I possibly can. Like, I'm not trying to inflate the cost so that I can make money off this as a project, but there's a certain minimum that Amazon set to publish the book, and like the handling of getting it shipped and everything. So I'm going to try and keep it as low as possible, and also like a nice round number for everybody. So this is not like, I mean, is anything in journaling a get-rich-quick scheme? But just in case you do see it. And I will tell you right now, the hardcover version, like the minimum price it can be, I think is around $20 or something. So it is expensive. These ones are a lot more affordable. These are like, I think maybe this one, all said and done, is like $5 US, something like that, which I find really affordable. So it's up to you. Like I said, there will be, when I say free version, I mean the regular version that I just give out publicly. There you go, I should say it like that. There'll be a public version. Speaking of my nephew, Jaiji Juju is a nickname for my nephew, and Hootie Booty Bell is a nickname for my niece, Savannah and Elijah. So then we get right to the end, and this is the last one. I don't think I read you guys this part before. I'm going to spare you the reading today. Is that guy on the exhaust surrounding? He's on a motorbike. That's a different guy. Go away, please. Test your supplies here. This is in every book because I feel like even though I will test a bunch of supplies for you, it is not a given that they're going to all work for you. You might have completely different, what are they called? Brands. And so even though I use one marker, that doesn't mean it's going to work the same for everything. Give me a second. I will write which of the books is which at the top so we can get a really good feel for the difference in each test. All right, from left to right, we have black and white paper on white. Sorry, black and white printing. That's the thing. The black and white is printing. Standard color is the printing. And then they're all on white paper, but the papers are different. So let's figure it all out. I mean, standard test really, but just ballpoint pen, right? Let's do it over here. Ballpoint pen. I'm gonna put Hobonichi just so I know which one I'm using. Hobonichi ballpoint pen. I'm not gonna try and change my my writing style or anything. Like I'm gonna press just as hard as I normally would because I want to see if it kind of buckles or, you know, embosses the paper or anything. I'll just pick random things that I have. This is a Staedtler Lumo color. These work on pretty much anything. I also want to see if it bleeds. There is definitely a difference with this paper. I'm not seeing too much of a difference with these. I'm seeing the difference with this one. It feels different to write on it as well. Let's do, what's this one? Univol Air. Because we know that one already ghosted on our black and white. Let's take a quick sneak peek. Oh wow, the Staedtler really went through. Yeah, on this one too. I actually think for the purposes of, you know, art supplies, I don't think there's going to be much of a difference to make between ghosting or bleeding. Let's try a Copic marker. Copic marker. And I want to try and do like a flat square of it. Or I should do it on this one too. I think I'm trying to give up because these two feel so similar, but I should just keep going. I'll try and do a flat square of gray. So see if I can get some streaking, or if it doesn't streak, or how much it will bleed through. This seems to work. There's no streaking. That can sometimes, that feels really nice on that paper. I didn't even have to go over it twice. I should just do that just to keep it even, but that really took to it well. I'll try it with a Tombow. Usually the water-based ones will streak on these, but sometimes you can get some really nice papers if they're slightly coated where it won't streak. Or where the application of it just feels really nice. Tombow. They all kind of feel the same actually. This one just feels slightly nicer. Is it enough to warrant paying more for it? That's what I really want to know, because there will be a price difference. Let's do micron. Let's try and get a thicker micron so we can really see. Or I have this. We'll do the Copic multiliner. Copic multiliner. That's a 08. I want to do some watercolor in here too, just to see. When I made coloring books, my mum used watercolor in the coloring books and she had a great time with it. So even when it buckled and warped the paper, I can't imagine it to be too much of a bad thing. This is a Pentel Pigment brush pen. This one's a little dry, but I would probably use something like that because I love the dry brush effect of it. I'll use the gray one as well. This one's a little juicier. There we go. And I'll just pop the name next to both of those. Pentel Pigment brush pens. I'm mostly going to be using, I guess, pens. I want to go straight in with pens. I don't really want to draw anything and then line it. I think I just want to draw in pens, because if Lija's going to go and color it all in, like, I don't think there'll be too much of a point trying to make it, you know, the neatest thing ever. I think as long as it looks understandable to color in, like if you can see what it is, I think that'll be fine. This is Palomino Blackwing, and I'm gonna do, sometimes when I do the pencils, I like to test just a little sketchy gradient. I'm mostly looking for the texture of the paper, so I'll turn it on its side sometimes and do a bit of a rubbing. And then I also like to smudge it to see how I can work that in, and then I like to erase it to see how well it will lift off the paper. And once all that's said and done, I feel like I get a pretty good idea of how it'll work. So this will take me a second. Palomino. There's definitely more texture in this paper. See, it's one of those things that you can't really tell. Oh goodness. I swear, if he comes by again, don't catch me having road rage literally sitting at a desk. It's only until you use a medium like a pencil where you'll actually start to see the texture difference. And this is not like textured paper. It's just the difference between what I would consider a smooth, bright white copy paper and something just a little cheaper. But even that, you can totally tell. It's fascinating to me. The thing that I think makes the really big difference is if you do try watercolor, I feel like it will hold up a little bit better on this, and this will probably start to pill. Just from my experience, that's what I expect, but you never really know until you have a go, because not all paper is made equal. Sometimes you luck out. But here's the thing, I don't know if whatever paper you guys use, if you're in a different country, or even if a different part of the States, I don't know how they outsource this printing. So you might actually receive a different paper stock. I'm not quite sure. This is probably only relevant to no one now. I'm still going to go anyway though, because what am I going to do? Imagine they send you different paper stock just from whatever. Look, I'm surprised that they even offer this as a service, to be honest. It seems too good to be true that you could just publish your own books with 0% overhead. Like, there's literally, it costs nothing to upload your manuscripts. And they'll let you order these author copies for the printing cost and the shipping cost. So they're relatively inexpensive. So look, I'm going to be grateful for what I can get out of it, to be honest. Let me just use a mechanical pencil. This one is, I think it's a Zebra. Yeah, Zebra M301. Sometimes I just like to know how scratchy it is. This actually feels nice. We'll get some colored pencils in there as well. Got a nice rainbow colored pencil in here somewhere. I feel like that's a good way to test everything all at once. I think Elijah would color it in with pencil. So this is really smooth. This is nice. I really do enjoy that. Textured paper is better for pencils, I find. Sometimes the smooth, slick paper, you don't feel like you don't have as much control because there's not as much, I want to say tension, but that's not the right word. Traction on the paper and the pencil. The tread. The tread, like it's a tire. No idea. Stop listening to me. This is a watercolor pencil. Let's do this. Derwent ink tense. And let's activate it. Start getting some of our water activated supplies into the mix. That'll make everything really fun. I'm not going to get a paintbrush or anything. I've got a little water brush over here. This should be sufficient. It's a little dirty, but put a drop of water on there. It does that thing where you get those little gray dots. Do you know that? If you've ever put watercolor onto paper that doesn't really like it, gets those little gray dots. This is pilling, like I expected. Put a bit of water in there like that. I'm just trying to add one generous dot of water to activate it, and then a drop of water to just let it sit and see how much it'll buckle. I'm also going to grab some watercolor. Just pop some watercolor on here. We'll try and make a little swatch. I find that if I ever do watercolor on copy paper, that I'm using it kind of like I would a marker, like a water-based marker. So like I can't expect it not to be streaky, and I'm more just using it for coloring purposes. I'm not trying to draw with it or, you know, do a nice gradient or fill in an area with it. I'm just kind of laying down color really quickly. And it can be fun to do that sometimes. My colors are mixing, so this is not a color swatch, but generally the less water that you use when you're doing it on these types of papers, the better. Why do I feel like there's a slight difference between these papers now, these two? If it has anything to do with this. It's not. They're the same papers. Anyway. It dries pretty quickly though, so that's a benefit. My mum would totally watercolor on this. I don't think she'd have a problem with it. You'll probably start to pill if you go over it too many times, but let's just do, ooh, that's not great. You would want some, oh wow, look at that. That's gone through 2 pages. You'd want something underneath that. It's done it there too. Wow. That is just really absorbent paper. No surprise, yeah, it's gone through everything. Did the gray go all the way through to this? No, it's gone through both pages though. So what we're looking at on the backs of the pages at this point, I'll just pull this one over. Yeah, really not much of a difference. You'll see this holds up a little bit better to the water activated mediums, but it's still just as absorbent, I think. You can kind of see how much smoother this is through the back of this Copic marker. Even this Pentel Pigment brush is actually gone through, which surprises me a little bit. I didn't expect that to go through. You've got ghosting on pretty much everything except the pencils. I think, yeah. Even on the grey Pentel brush, there's still a slight bit of ghosting. So, I mean, anything else should we really be testing? The white gel pen, we'll test it over the black. I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't work. Looks great. Uniball Signo. That looks great to me. No issues there. Maybe a paint marker. This is a Marabou Yono, but It's pretty standard, I find. I should put the thing on there. This gets a little pilly. I love how I write so illegibly. Like this is supposed to help anyone, even me. I wouldn't be able to figure out what this says. I'll have to go back and reference the video if I ever needed to. That seems fine to me. What other things have I got? I usually use these. Zebra brush pen. That's a little dry, so I think I need a better sample than that. Zebra brush. And then I think I'll get a little jar of ink and put that on there as well. This is a Diatramentis Document Black ink. I'll just run a line of it down the page. See what that does. So this is a more saturated line, and this one is where it dries up. See if that affects the ghosting. There's a bit of bleed for the heavier ink application on this paper. Seems to be more of a bleed on this one than that one. See, is it different? You never really know too, yeah? I mean, you have to take into account that even when things are manufactured, slight variations can occur. Like, you do a run of paper, that one paper is not going to be the exact same as the paper that you run through it like 30 runs later. So I try not to be too particular about stuff like that. What else have we got? Ink. I don't know if you'd need to test an ink pad, but here is, we'll do a little stamping. Let's do the little kitty cats. This is VersaFine Onyx Black, because this does ghost a lot, I find. And let's pop down what those are, just so we don't forget. Diatramentis, Doc Black, VersaFine Black, Doc Black. I couldn't actually find a video like this online. That's why I had to order all of these, because I could not find the difference. And there's a lot of people who do low content publishing on Amazon, but I guess they just don't care about what the supplies they use. Not many people are doing like DIY illustration books. In fact, I couldn't find any of those, so maybe that's why, but I figured you guys would really appreciate it if I at least gave it a go before I said, here's a link, go buy it if you want. Let's see what else I've got in here. Yeah, I really don't think there's any other type of supply. I mean, dot marker. Dot. I love a good dot marker. The bleed is ever so slight on this paper. Not enough to write home about, I wouldn't say. I mean, I don't think this would work in it. This is a Muji 0.25. Sometimes this can be scratchy, but it's great. Sometimes the really, really small nibs can feel like they get caught along the paper, or they skip if there's any texture. These work great. Zero complaints. What's this? Jelly Moonlight. I really like these, but these are probably better for darker background things. Like if you're going to put it over the top of this, that works really nicely. Like I said, I'm not doing color, so it's not going to matter too much for me. There is, however, one thing I might like to try, because I've done this before, and sometimes I like to put the shadows in beforehand, like before the color. We've done the gray brush pen, but I have, where is it? I have a black watercolor pencil that I'll activate with, I mean, I can do it with the Inktense, but it's not that one. I have a different one. Gotta get the top-down view. There it is. It is a Derwent watercolor one. I've had this one for years. and I'll activate it with one of those clear, what are they called? Blender markers? These, the Tombow blending thing. So here, if I just go to put some pencil down there, because this is water-based, it will activate the pigment and kind of blend it out. So sometimes I like that. This is running out, this one. I have another one here. I don't use these for anything else, so I don't really mind that it kind of, you know, ruins them. It is a nice way to kind of add another texture or another effect to it. Especially if you've got, like, see this more textured paper, you can kind of run in and out of going between textured and not. So if you're going to do a pattern on a dress that you wanted, like, kind of texture on texture or something, maybe you wanted to do a gingham, it would be really hard to kind of add that pencil texture underneath that layer if you had to draw every single square. So sometimes things like that. It's a very specific application for it, but it can come in really handy, because I wouldn't want to do that with a paintbrush if I could just quickly activate it with my pencil and my pen, my marker. Great. What would I say this? WC pencil plus clear Tombow. You know what I mean by that. Blending marker. It doesn't work as well with the Copic markers I've found. It might just be my one, but those are alcohol based. And you want the water-based ones. A little easier. The alcohol ones dry really quickly, and they also, it's a lot more streaky. And they don't kind of self-clean as well as the water-activated markers do. I think that's it, honestly. I couldn't show you anything else other than this, which I don't see anyone trying to use a red blue pencil, even though I love them and I'll use them for everything. I don't really see that happening here. Let me grab the ones that I always use. So I have a whole bunch, but this is Mitsu Bishi. There we go. We get both in there. The reason being, so if you were going to do like your underdrawing with that you can't really erase them that well. Like you're getting a little bit off there, but you can't really pick it all back up. There you go. Let's try and draw as hard as I can with a pencil and see how much I can erase with it. So I'll just grab a Palomino Blackwing. Just want to see what happens when you burnish into the paper. Typically the paper is kind of unusable at this point because what are you going to layer on top? Unless you get your mixed media out. But some people might want to change their mind and think, oh, I've got to get rid of that. So it's good to know just how much you can abuse the paper before it really starts to disintegrate. That one's, I mean, I would say that's pretty good. And you can go over that again. Yeah, that's pretty good. We'll call this a stress test. Stress test. Pencil and eraser. This, I don't have as much faith in this paper. Just feels a little thinner. It feels like text paper. This is a pretty good eraser though. You know what? That's not half bad. A little bit more obvious than this one, but definitely still reworkable. It has burnished into the paper, which is to be expected. I press really hard, so there's not much you can do about that. Just put stress test, pencil and eraser. And we'll just give this one a really tiny one because I do believe at this point these are exactly the same papers. For my Aussies, it's gonna be really specific to you, but if you have a connector pen, this is what that looks like. This is Faber-Castell. Nice, actually. It's a nice big bold line. I should remember that. I'll draw a little black mark on there. This is water-based, so it's kind of like a Tombow with just a different nib. It's like a little bullet nib. I grew up with these connector pens. I love connector pens. people at school who had so many of them. They had like big skyscraper connection buildings out of them. So jealous. There is a connector pen. You know what? I've actually been curious to see what white looks like on top of that. That's it. I'm so sick of that thing. We officially have to move. I cannot live in this exhaust pipe land anymore. Hopefully the noise cancellation in the background took it out. Yeah, it does. It doesn't stain, so it must not be that kind of dye-based ink. Anyway, let's flip all of these over, see what we've got. There we go. This is the back page of everything that we have done so far. Is there any point? No. I actually think the only difference you're going to have is this is slightly smoother. Oh, I had Caran d'Ache. So I guess we can do that as our last one. This is the premium color on white paper is slightly smoother, but it is no better for ghosting or bleeding. Paper integrity, I mean, if you were going to use watercolor, you would use premium color paper. It's not a good watercolor paper, but it is the only one I would probably say you'd have a half decent time with if you wanted to use Copic markers and have a really smooth laydown and a better experience. I'd probably use the premium color. I think what I'm going to do is add the black and white paper version as like the most affordable option, just because there is a price difference even between these two. So I'm going to add that as the most affordable one. I think then I'll add this one as like a kind of premium bump, like just above that. Again, I'm not going to try and, you know, put on like a 700% markup, but there will be a royalty on both of them. I'll try and keep them as even across the board as possible. And then with the hardcover, I don't anticipate anyone really would be interested in that because they're going to come too late. But I definitely want the hardcover, and as it is, I think I might redesign the cover because I'm going to get one that'll look like this. It'll just be a hardcover version of it. I'm assuming it's the same paper. Those will be there. If you're doing this project in the future, you do this, I don't know, a different year, or if you decide that it's not an October thing, that you maybe want to do it in November and give it to someone for Christmas, that would be a great thing too. I hope to record my journey of this and share it with you, whether that be on live streams or maybe if I just do recorded videos or something. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to commit to, but I would love to record it with you and at least go through it because I think it's going to be really, really fun. Yeah, and I think I'm going to end up using the premium color version in the hardcover. My recommendation to you would be use the premium color version in the soft cover if you want to get it in time and if you want to have the best experience we can using the Amazon KDP printing services. So yeah, that's going to be my recommendation. If you're seeing this and I've already figured it all out, check the description box below for the link to those, and I'll hopefully share more of that on social media so you don't feel completely lost. I didn't explain this, but I'll explain it just as I go. The whole premise of the book is Daisy, you know, she is anything and everything. She's just a mixture of different little, I would say, design elements. There's little Daisy details. I've kind of reworked them a little bit over the years, but this was the original one years ago, 2018. But she has big round glasses, scalloped hair, freckles. I now say she's got glasses, freckles. She has bows or ribbons and scalloping. So it's not just scalloped hair, it could be like scalloping in the dress details, or it could be scalloped, I don't know, scalloped clothes, scalloped eyes, like who knows? That sounds crazy, but you know, she's a version of all of those things. So you can see how people add different elements of Daisy, even throughout the rest of the illustrations. I just love these. I love looking through these and seeing everyone's different versions. They're so different and they're so cute. Look at that. This always brings me a lot of joy. I'm hoping to recreate that experience for us this year and not stress everyone out having to submit any photos to a Facebook group. Rather, have you do it in your own home and have the book finished by you. yeah, so that you'll have something physical at the end of it. If you're not doing this, just do it in a journal. Like, there's no need to buy the book. I really just want to offer this experience to myself and by extension, anyone else who would like to do it with me. And yeah, I'll hopefully bring it to Australia and have my nephew color it in. That will be really special for me. I might even have my mum color it in as well. With her watercolors. Maybe I'll have the whole family color in different pages. Maybe I'll write 300 books and I'll do that. I don't know. I think it's going to be a really nice thing to have, and I'm excited to get that going. So wish me luck. Pray for me that I get some urge to finish this graphic so that I can go and update what I want to do. I think everything's pretty good. I just have to proofread it. Yeah, Daisy is... Sorry, again. The actual story. Daisy's just looking for a costume. All of these prompts... Wow, I'm so stupid. I should have been the first thing I said. All of these prompts are ideas Daisy has for costumes she might wear to her version of Halloween, which is Daisyween. And they make no sense. We did this on a live stream. We kind of brainstormed a few things, and half of them are completely nonsensical, and then I think the other half-ish have kind of leading description. Like, there's a descriptive part of the word in there. So like a fossil fiffum, fossil is like the leading word in there, just in case you wanted to be prompted in a certain direction. And weaselblitten, like weasel is that word. But then there are completely made up words like mimi nuffle. I mean, who knows what that is? There's no leading word in that. So it's supposed to just kind of be anything and everything. And it's written very Seussical. Seussical? Zeus. I say Dr. Zeus, but it's Seuss, right? Seussical. Yeah, so it has that kind of feel to it. Hopefully children will love it. There are some tongue twisters in there, so I feel like it'd be a fun experience to read with the child as well, because I don't anticipate adults having an easy time reading this either. So I just imagine everyone reading it, getting completely tongue-tied and making fun memories. I don't know, I'm really excited. Can you tell I'm really passionate about this project I had no time for, but decided to do anyway? Okay, thank you for watching. Let's get into it. You should see more about this in October. Fingers crossed everything goes well. Thanks for being here for the unboxing and the testing. I'm really excited. I'll see you again soon. Bye.